An Israeli court has ordered Benjamin Netanyahu to appear in person for the opening session of his upcoming corruption trial.
The Prime Minister's legal team had requested an exemption from attending the high-profile first hearing scheduled for Sunday, the culmination of years of police investigations and intense public focus.
Proceedings in Jerusalem are expected to be brief, with the court reading out charges of bribery, fraud and breach of trust.
Defense lawyers had argued their client was already aware of the allegations against him and that the number of bodyguards needed for his security detail would strain coronavirus restrictions against large gatherings indoors.
The court rejected the request, saying it had factored in the number of bodyguards and that Netanyahu must be present for the readout so judges can hear him say he has read and understood them.
This is the case in every criminal trial, and so too in the current criminal procedure. We have not found that there is any reason for the applicant to justify an exception to this rule, the judges wrote.
Netanyahu was indicted last year in 3 separate cases. It was the first time a sitting Israeli prime minister was charged with a crime, and he could face more than a decade in prison if convicted.
The 70-year-old is accused of receiving gifts such as cigars, champagne and jewelry from billionaires including the Hollywood businessman Arnon Milchan and the Australian casino operator James Packer, allegedly in exchange for favors. Milchan and Packer are not facing any charges.
In 2 other cases, Netanyahu is accused of attempting to collude with Israeli media organizations for favorable coverage to help him shape his image. In the most severe case, he is alleged to have offered incentives worth close to £200 million in exchange for positive stories.
The Prime Minister has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing, alleging he is the victim of a politically motivated witch hunt.
Hearings were supposed to begin in March but were delayed after courts restricted activities due to the coronavirus pandemic.
In that time, Netanyahu has bolstered his position by making a deal with his former political rival, Benny Gantz, to form a unity government. The agreement ended more than a year of political paralysis during which the country held 3 inconclusive elections.
Crucially, it also affords Netanyahu extra protection during what will likely be a months-long trial. Under Israeli law, prime ministers are not required to resign if indicted, but lower-ranking ministers are. Netanyahu, however, will remain as prime minister for the next 18 months and then hold the role of alternate prime minister, meaning he will not be forced to step down.
The case has divided the country, with Netanyahu smearing the domestic media and judiciary as conspirators against him.
Israel's Attorney General, Avichai Mandelblit, who indicted Netanyahu, filed police complaints last week over what he said were death threats.
The Justice Ministry said Mandelblit received threats in messages sent to his cell phone, which appear to have been coordinated and continued through the night.